Well, I'm filling in great shoes of both from the Tkachuk angle and others previous. George Fury, who was the chair for a number of years. I had a lot of time for George Fury, even though we were of different persuasions, political persuasions. I had a lot of time for him. I remember people from the past. I think we mentioned a while ago in private as we were talking, Romeo LeBlanc, who I recall being the chair of the committee. So every one of them had their strengths and ways of approaching things. Mine is to act as much as possible in concert with the Internal Economy Committee to make sure that they're aware of what we're doing. And I'm talking about the full board now. I want to make sure that they are fully involved and get fully involved in how we proceed with all issues, whether it be personnel issues, whether it be legal, whether it be improving our internal controls, which need to be enhanced, dealing with the Auditor General. I do want for the full Internal Economy Board to get involved, and but I will want to remind them that once we do get the full board involved, that it does involve items sometimes that we need to be able to have a full investigation before we get out in the public. I think what I have heard from some individuals is it's taken a long time, to fix these things, and that's a good that's a valid criticism. It's taking a long time. I obviously will respond by saying, well, due process does, in order to make sure that you do it right, it does take some time, and I think most people accept that. Caring Canadians will know that you don't want to do something which is wrong, on whether it be a senator who's at the kind of senators right now at the low totem pole, or whether it be somebody who's a high value in people's eyes. They do want to make sure that we do it right, but the criticism I'm getting is that it does take a long time. But I think they know that it's fair that we do it right.
Can I ask?
Chambers don't report to government. That's like, some may not actually realize this, but the institutions of Parliament, both the House of Commons and the Senate, do not report to government. They report. They will submit budgets to Treasury Board, and these are looked at and so on by Parliament. But so the legislatures have to be kind of careful that they don't hand over their administration to outside. Because Parliament is Parliament. It's been jealously guarded since the 1600s. That legislatures do have to be able to give access to Canadians to come before us. So therefore, we do need to give resources to the parliamentarians to be able to meet with Canadians, to be able to respond to, look at legislation when it does come through. For example, if the government sends legislation to the Senate, we need to be able to have the resources to dive into that legislation. Was the legislation properly done, properly looked at? We do bring in witnesses. All of this, there is a cost aspect to it. There's an element of cost. And in order to respond to the fact that witnesses can appear before a committee of Parliament with complete immunity, that if they cannot be sued if they appear before us and so on, we do have to have the measures in place to protect those witnesses once they're in. And I'm saying protected against libel and so on. We do have to have the rooms available. We do have to have transcription, Hansard, the interpretation. All of these elements, there's a cost to it. And the Senate itself, the Senate authorizes or gives an instruction to the internal economy. This is what we want to do. This is how we want it done, and this is the kind of quality of work that we need. And so the internal economy at that point has to prepare the budgets to go and get these resources in order to be able to do this. And this is what it's almost akin to if a business wishes to provide good service to its customers. We as a chamber, a legislature, have to be able to do the same thing, always being mindful that there's a cost to it, and that we are under scrutiny by both the media and the public, and that when we do it, that we do it to the best of our ability, minding the public interest at all times. This is why Canadians, and rightly so, Canadians are right. If there's any kind of abuse, if we put programs in place, we establish guidelines and rules and so on, and if somebody wishes to abuse that, it's a bad reflection on the product. I call it product, but on what we're attempting to do. So that's why we give such little leeway in the abuse. If there is abuse, we want it stopped right away, and establish if the rules are not clear enough, we'll make it clearer. But senators have to, like members of the House of Commons, have to know that they report to a higher standard than business. We have to have a higher standard than business, because we're doing this for Canadians, and we're doing it on their behalf, and they demand, and I think justly so, they demand that we do it right. If we do spend money, by all means, that there is a cost aspect, but we don't want it abused. I've got my pride and joys, my Kubota 2400 tractor, of which I have a backhoe that attaches to it. And in the wintertime, I've got a snowplow for it. And in the summertime, I do my fields and so on. Unfortunately, the gardening that I would love to be able to do, that is, actually having vegetables growing in the garden, because of the busiest time of our year is usually in the months of April and May, which is the top season for gardening. I don't have much time to do it, because it's quite a distance to travel to my home in Nova Scotia. So I've had to content myself with growing tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers in my little greenhouse. So I managed to prepare my indoor garden kind of thing. My wife then takes care of it until I'm back home, sometimes in July, and so. But at that time, I do jump on my tractor and I take it out almost every day. As well, I've got a 77 Corvette that I do try to take out at least every few days, and just drive around my home community, my little Corvette. And so that's my kind of hobbies, and so my Corvette and my tractor. Good question. I'll see how it goes. I'm prepared to go for the long haul on it. If it requires quite a bit of time, we'll do it. I was asked to serve, because it was when Senator Tkachuk found that he had some medical problems that he needed to give attention to. I was asked to kind of fill in on a kind of quick notice. I said I'd do it for some time, until we can look at a more permanent situation. But so we'll see how it goes, and whether the Senate wants to continue for me to continue in that job or not for a little while. But I'm prepared to help. Basically, I didn't go out seeking the job, by the way. I want to get that completely clear. It's I've always said to powers to be in the Senate, look, I will do whatever in order to advance the cause of the chamber, the Senate itself, and of my contribution to Canadians. I'm prepared to serve, whatever capacity I need to serve, and this one wasn't one I was, like I say, actually looking for, but I said I'll serve, and I'll do the best I can during that period.